Here we have chaos, and chaos, and chaos, and a chaos, and chaos, and chaos, and chaos, and a chaos, and another chaos. But what does that spell? K-A-O-S.
Behold, it is I, Chaos. Long have I waited for this day to take my revenge. Soon you will all bow down before me, Chaos, K-A-O-S.
What's going on, everybody? Here today we're going to be doing something no one has ever done before on YouTube, and that is making a top 9 list of the most powerful versions of Chaos. Now, to no one's surprise, I'm sure, one of the weakest versions of Chaos and coming in at 9th place is the Netflix series one. Why is this? Well, the fact that he's a character in a comedy show means he is part of the comedy cast, making him a comedy character. So more often than not, he is nothing more than just used as a joke. But this isn't to say he doesn't have any powers of his own. He does. In fact, he's been shown to use them once or twice, like when he used his dark magic against Spyro's fire attacks. They were evenly matched there for a moment, with Spyro eventually getting the upper hand over him. And he did use them again against King Pen to torture him for information. However, when doing so, King Pen referred to his attacks as nothing more than a light breeze. And not to mention, this version of Chaos is rather very unintelligent. Not to say other versions of him haven't been unintelligent before, but this one really takes the cake in the matter of having a low IQ. So needless to say, Netflix Chaos, you're staying in 9th. Coming in at number 8, we have Chaos from Spyros Adventure. Now, what prevents him from being higher on the list is due to the fact that, unlike other versions of Chaos, he has no special power-up of his own aside from his chair. Now, what kind of powers does this Chaos have? Well, with the assistance of the Eternal Sources, he's able to summon spells, and is also a master of the dark magic, being able to project magic bolts of energy. Chaos even has the ability to create dark versions of Skylanders, although we've never seen him make more than 3 at a time to fight against them. And with the use of his chair, he's able to attempt to smash Skylanders, although his chair is kind of slow. But even if his chair is kind of slow, it did protect him for the final battle in Spyros Adventure. And even if he can only summon 3 Dark Skylanders at a time, he has shown to have the ability to summon new ones, and use the previous ones to make the new ones even more powerful. But what about Chaos's most powerful weapon, the Hydra? I can't include it in his power ranking, because of the fact that it's really just a big minion. And not even one that he can naturally summon, it was just already at the castle where the final battle took place. Now, considering all this, he does have plenty of ways to overpower the previous version of the Netflix Chaos. But even so, he's still not very powerful. In the final battle, it was shown that he only took 1 hit, and that was from the explosion of his chair after the Skylander damaged it too much. Meaning his durability is extremely low, if non-existent to begin with. But does Chaos's chair have any tricks up its sleeve? Well, no, not really. For most of the battle, he just rides in it and attempts to crush the Skylander. And then it gets stuck in the ground, which is rather unimpressive, and it allows the Skylander to damage the chair, which eventually led to him being defeated. Chaos wasn't even smart enough to see that his chair was the main problem and why he was defeated. If he had just thought about the battle for a moment, he probably could have seen that staying back and allowing his Dark Skylanders to do the work for him would have been a much safer and smarter attack strategy. So, given all this, while the Spyros Adventure Chaos is still much more powerful than the Netflix version of Chaos, his lack of abilities, however, prevents him from being any higher on the list. And again, he's just not very intelligent, as he was shown to have poor attack strategies. So, he's earned and shall remain in 8th place. And coming in at 7th place, we have Emperor Chaos. Now, what makes this slightly bigger little evil guy so special, though? Well, the fact of the matter is that this version of Chaos has been amplified by the darkness. You see, in Skylander Superchargers, Chaos planned to use the darkness as a weapon to conquer Skylands, but eventually the darkness grew more powerful than him, which might have actually been a good thing in this case, considering the Chaos gets his powers from the darkness, which allowed him to do some pretty incredible things, such as manipulating spiky cubes in his arena, or even making clones of himself. Chaos could even conjure up giant hands to perform attacks with. And even further beyond that, it's quite possible Chaos's powers were getting stronger the longer he fought, as at first he was only able to throw one spiky cube at a time, and then went to several, and was only able to spawn 3 clones of himself at one time, eventually going to 5. But what other powers does he have? Well, this version of Chaos can teleport, as he keeps teleporting from his chair to the stage and back to perform different attacks to try and attack the Skylander. Can Emperor Chaos do anything else, though? Well, actually yes, he can. You see, towards the end of the battle, it was shown that he had become so powerful, he was able to summon all of his energy into one giant blast. Although, this blast did leave him knocked down for quite a while, allowing him to take a good amount of damage. However, even with all this power, his attacks are rather simplistic, as they all seem to follow a basic pattern, making them fairly easy to dodge. Emperor Chaos is also not very durable, as he was taken down by just a bunch of regular Skylander attacks. Despite the fact, though, that Emperor Chaos's attacks are rather predictable, and he himself is not very durable, he's still a much more powerful version of Chaos than the one from Spyros Adventure. If the two of them were ever to get into a one-on-one battle, Emperor Chaos would win. He could just create clones of himself to take on Chaos's Dark Skylanders, while Emperor Chaos launched a giant energy blast at regular Chaos, most likely taking him out on the first attempt. And, given that Emperor Chaos can teleport, that would make Chaos's chair useless to protect him, as Emperor Chaos could just attack from above. And having Emperor Chaos earned his place at 7th, up next at 6th, we have Robo Chaos. But what is so special about him? I am Emperor Chaos!
You see, I am awesome! Of course I was always awesome. But now that I have the Fist of Arceus and assume the form of the biggest, most powerful or whatever, I am supremely awesome! So you probably better start running here.
Making his appearance in Skylanders Giants, we have Robo Chaos, which is one of the largest versions of Chaos that there have ever been. You see, Robo Chaos was created after Chaos discovered the Iron Fist of Arceus and decided to wear it, which in turn turned him into a giant robot. And, while in this new form, he was said to be the most powerful of the Arceans, which was demonstrated by the use of his new powers, such as being able to summon Arcean robots and magic generators just from the palm of his hand. That's not even mentioning the fact that he can shoot lasers from both his eyes and the Iron Fist of Arceus. Also, becoming a giant robot gave him an incredible strength and durability boost, being able to easily crush stone and survive an avalanche dropped on him, getting up just moments later. But does he have any special abilities? To which I say, actually yes, he does. He's really good at pushing buttons.
My secret red avalanche button. Well, I can hit buttons too.
But aside from this amazing button feat, Robo Chaos was powerful enough to hold off a giant Arcean robot, even getting the upper hand over him a couple of times. And each time the Chaos did get the upper hand, it actually proved that, unlike the other Chaoses, he is a bit more intelligent, due to the fact that at least after his gauntlet was attacked, he was smart enough to send in Arcean robots and magic generators to try and stop the Skylanders from damaging it. I mean, in the end it didn't work, but at least he tried. And then later on he used it as a shield to protect his head, so maybe he's not that smart. But what makes Robo Chaos so much better than Emperor Chaos? Well, anything that Emperor Chaos can throw at Robo Chaos can just hit it right back, but even stronger. If Emperor Chaos made clones of himself, Robo Chaos could just summon in his Arcean robots to fight against them. Also being able to summon in magic generators, and even give them support with laser eye vision just to take them out. And if he wanted to use the size and strength that came with his robot form, he could probably pretty easily crush all of Chaos's clones. And if Robo-Chaos can take out any of Chaos's clones, I don't see why he couldn't do the same thing to Emperor Chaos. And number 5, we have a giant purple, super evil Chaos.
At the hands of Super Evil Chaos!
Super Evil Chaos, the largest version of Chaos that we have ever seen, and is in many ways a direct upgrade to Robo-Chaos. Whereas Robo-Chaos was only 40 to 60 feet tall, Super Evil Chaos is closer to 400 to 600 feet tall. In addition to being much bigger than Robo-Chaos, Super Evil Chaos can even do a lot of the same things Robo-Chaos can do. Just like how Robo-Chaos could summon in his Archean robot minions, Super Evil Chaos has been shown to be able to summon in elemental golems and chompy rustbuds. And similar to how Robo-Chaos could use eye lasers, Super Evil Chaos can use blasts of energy, which have been shown to be stronger than Robo-Chaos's eye lasers. You see, where Robo-Chaos's eye lasers couldn't even damage the battle stage they were on, Super Evil Chaos's blasts of dark energy could easily destroy large amounts of stone on a different battle stage. Besides that, though, Super Evil Chaos should be just as strong, if not much stronger, than Robo-Chaos. Being able to create massive shockwaves with just the stamp of his feet or the closing of his jaw. Super Evil Chaos can even create minions with the power of his mind, although I do believe that they cannot exist outside of his head, as we've never seen any proof that they could, aside from the elemental golems and chompy rustbuds, of course. Still, even with these powers, Super Evil Chaos does have some drawbacks, such as him having a low durability, or at least just his petrified darkness crystals, which is still a very bad thing for him, considering the fact that if he loses enough of the petrified darkness, it'll cause him to return to normal. Having said that, I don't really see any way for Robo-Chaos to get an upper hand on Super Evil Chaos. The only way to truly defeat Super Evil Chaos would be to clear out all of his petrified darkness, but unless Robo-Chaos's Archean robots can get inside of Super Evil Chaos's body, I don't see them being able to get the job done. Not to mention that Super Evil Chaos could most likely just crush Robo-Chaos using his sheer size and strength against him. And even if he couldn't, Super Evil Chaos could just use one of his dark energy blasts, most likely destroying, or at the very least damaging, Robo-Chaos. He could even stomp his feet, creating shockwaves that Robo-Chaos couldn't dodge, because it was from a time before Skylanders or anybody could jump. Which seems a little unfair, but is also kind of true. And coming in at number 4, we have Super Chaos. Now, this version of Chaos made his appearance in Skylanders Imaginators, after Chaos and the Brain combined their mind magic powers together, causing the creation of Super Chaos, which also gave Chaos a massive boost in power. I mean, really, just look at that blue hair he's got. With this increase in power, however, Super Chaos is able to do things such as creating massive fields of energy, which can repel and damage Skylanders. He can also create entire teams of Doomlanders on a whim. Even being able to do that, though, Super Chaos himself doesn't really have any other moves besides that, with the main focus of his power just being able to create many Doomlanders at a time. But, even so, Super Chaos should still be able to beat all the previous versions of Chaos we've established thus far. Because, while not having amazing durability, as it was shown that he was defeated by regular Skylander attacks, this version of Chaos, more often than not, will stay away from direct conflict, and often letting his Doomlanders deal most of the damage to the Skylanders, which, in the end, could end up being his saving grace. But, are the Doomlanders strong enough to be able to take on other versions of Chaos and their soldiers? Well, yes. Because most of the Doomlanders were bosses on their own, meaning they should be powerful enough to take on just basic enemies. And, even if they're not, Super Chaos can always create as many Doomlanders as he needs in order to get the job done, because it really hasn't been shown how many Doomlanders Chaos can create at one time, so we have no reason to believe he couldn't make as many as he needed to. The only real way Super Chaos could accidentally lose in the end is if he left himself exposed on the battlefield for too long, allowing himself to take a lot of damage. And while yes, he does have an electrical energy shield that could protect him from attacks, it's not an instant kill move, and it doesn't exactly keep Skylanders out, so he's still vulnerable to taking some damage. But, so long as he creates enough Doomlanders to be able to protect himself with, I see no reason why he doesn't deserve the place at number 4. And coming into the top 3, we have some of our most powerful versions of Chaos. With coming in at number 3, we have Traptanium Chaos. Now wait a moment, who could possibly be stronger than Traptanium Chaos? How is he only 3rd on the list? Well, if you're asking that, you clearly haven't seen number 1 and 2. This version of Chaos made his appearance in Skylanders Trap Team, and he was one of the only versions of Chaos to ever demonstrate having multiple forms throughout a battle. And allow me to make that clear. He has multiple forms, not multiple stages. There have been other versions of Chaos that have had multiple stages in the final conflict. As for his abilities, they're very devastating attacks that only manage to get stronger the higher his forms become. He can manipulate dark energy, using it to act as a ground-based shield which can launch shockwaves, knocking back and damaging his enemies. But wait a minute, can't Super Chaos do that too? Traptanium Chaos does it better, end of discussion. He can also summon elemental bullets, as well as use wrist-mounted Traptanium swords, or even summon multiple blades to hack rock across the battlefield. And in addition to that attack, each time he performs it, it always creates electrical lines which attempt to damage the Skylander. But who could forget his most famous attack? The Doom Sharks. Making their first appearance in Spyros Adventure, they have been an annoyance to the Skylanders for quite some time now. Now what about his durability? Well, it's actually pretty high, although it does weaken the higher his forms become. You see, Traptanium Chaos barely took any damage from the Skylanders' attacks at first, but each time he were to become stronger, he would take a little more damage. But face to face with Super Chaos, how would Traptanium Chaos do? Well, he could probably completely overpower the Doomlanders with his constant barrage of attacks. Not to mention, if Super Chaos tried to fly away from the battle, well, Traptanium Chaos can fly even faster, which was demonstrated after Traptanium Chaos got his wings. He was able to fly so fast he could land multiple sword strikes on the ground at once. But even if Traptanium Chaos' speed isn't enough, he can still perform multiple attacks at the same time to further overpower the Doomlanders and Super Chaos. And after having Traptanium Chaos earn his place at number 3, we move on into number 2. Coming in at number 2, we have Trapped Chaos. But wait a minute, isn't this just the same Chaos but without the Traptanium power? How can he possibly be stronger? Well, he's not, but he does have a couple of upsides that no other Chaos has had thus far. Because unlike other versions of Chaos, this one has a Portal Master controlling him, meaning it should be smarter and more effective in combat, being able to determine the weaknesses of all the other Chaoses thus far. And even if he's not the strongest, he still has plenty of powers to back up his strategies. He can summon Doom Sharks, use elemental attacks, turn into a giant head, shoot lasers, and use a sonic scream. Now, even considering all these strengths, he still has one weakness. He has a time limit. Granted, he can recharge it by using his magic attack, but it will deplete even faster if he takes damage. And at normal, or rather at most, his time can last approximately 2 minutes. Now, granted, 2 minutes is quite a long time, but it's still a weakness nonetheless. But wait a minute, Couldn't he also regain time by dodging attacks? Well, potentially. We did see him regain time against Traptanium Chaos, so it is possible. But at the same time, I can't say that would be the case when fighting against other versions of Chaos. And just to be clear, if it wasn't for the fact that a Portal Master was controlling this version of Chaos, I would have him much lower on this list, because, unlike other versions, he just doesn't have that many special powers, and has a time limit. And knowing Chaos, he probably wouldn't remember to recharge his time by using his magic attack. But, thanks to the help of the Portal Master, Trapped Chaos solidifies his spot at number 2. And before getting into number 1, we do have one honorable mention. Chaos in a Plane, Skylanders Swap Force. It's literally just Chaos in a plane. It's more a demonstration of the plane's powers than it is Chaos's. But, coming in at number 1, as our most powerful version of Chaos, we have Sensei Chaos. However, due to the fact that both Sensei Chaos and Trapped Chaos are both being controlled by a Portal Master, this should make their overall fighting skill and intelligence fairly equal. Although, Sensei Chaos does have a few upper hands over Trapped Chaos, such as the fact that he doesn't have a time limit. Or, such as the fact that Sensei Chaos's powers are so overpowered. I mean, really, what can't this guy do? He can rapidly perform close-range attacks, long-range attacks, summon Doomlanders, open a portal of Doom, and can summon Doom Sharks. God, those frickin' Doom Sharks. They're the only reason I kept losing the final battle in Trap Team. But, anyways, what else can this guy do? Well, he can become a giant head and rapidly shoot lasers from his eyes, although it only lasts a couple of seconds. But why isn't Trap Chaos in first place? He can recharge his time just using a magic attack, whereas Sensei Chaos actually needs food to recharge his health. Well, considering how quickly Sensei Chaos can spam his attacks, it's not hard to believe that Sensei Chaos could drain Trap Chaos's health quicker than he can recharge it. And there you have it, our top 9 list of the most powerful versions of Chaos. If you agree with or disagree with anything I've said thus far, let me know down in the comments below.